Slava Ukraine, yeah. My name is Thomas Lane. I'm making this recording because I have to plan and be able to edit stuff like that. But I just had to, I've been working really hard. I just had something I wanted to say to folks that I just have to say. Oh, shit. Recording. Yes. Need to start over. I need to start over. Can you edit or something? I guess I can. I don't know. Slava Ukraine, yeah. I just had to make the report. I'm going to make. I've just been working for 11 days, doing everything I could, doing my best to try to address some of the things that are going on. But there's a couple of things I just need to get off my chest. And the first one is that I want somebody to explain to me why it is that the commander-in-chief is not held to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's one thing. Somebody can answer me that. That'd be great. And I do want an answer. Number two, I'd like to know why it is that, the courts, the Supreme Court, and I'll be respectful and talk about the Chief Justices and all that. But, I don't get how it is that, we can have somebody who is supposedly, appointing cabinet positions for other branches of our government and then doesn't have to be accountable. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking that maybe the judicial department should have strict oversight of the Department of Justice or however that works. But the courts need to be looking at what's going on when an executive is trying to do his job and it doesn't have the work to do it, it's just ridiculous what's going on. So I'm a little upset, but I just don't understand why it is that we've had to deal with this pain and anguish for so long now. So here's my thinking. I think, we should do whatever we need to do so that whoever, takes the oath to sit behind a resolute desk is held to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, because ultimately the biggest thing that person can do is be a commander-in-chief. So that's one thing. I think that the Supreme Court should be supremely interested in the conduct of people in the legislative branch, because we don't seem to be right now. And I think all of Congress, which has become like an old folks home and a place for people with cognitive impairment, other than a few patriots who are really there, and I'll name names later in a different video because I've got to get this done. And I've made some new YouTuber friends, which is really nice. You folks won't believe what the last 11 days have been like, but I will tell you this, just as not a plug, but American Express, don't leave home without it is a thing. So those are the couple of things first. I also wanted to kind of address just one of the things around, why we have all these problems with, color and culture and faith, because I don't really care, what color people are on the outside. It's more about our hearts on the inside. And if we have faith on the inside, and I know as a man of solid faith that I'm pretty much lined up with other men of faith around the world, no matter what it looks like on the outside. Faith is faith is faith. And heart is heart is heart, and soul is soul is soul. Simple, makes it easy. We've had so much angst around all this, different colors on the outside stuff that, than we are on the inside. But I want to, I'm going to try to tell a story. I'm not really not much of a storyteller. I'm really more, of an interpreter. But I'm going to plant some seeds here to make it quick, because I know my YouTuber friends, we YouTubers, as we've been talking about, can fix this all up for me. But before I start doing that, I also wanted to read something that was addressed to me. I've got letters addressed to me from 3 branches of the executive branch, one of them being the Department of Education. I've got that. I'll post it somewhere, so there's no fake news here. I've got several from the Health and Human Services from work that I've been doing with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration for, 21 years now. And a bunch of stuff from, Police Executive Research Forum. I worked on the Council of State Governments, Criminal Justice and Mental Health Consensus Project. This is 15 years ago, people. But there's one thing that I really want to read, and I'm going to have to figure out how to do it so I can see it. And that's from the U.S. Department of Justice. So, yeah, you heard right. I have a letter that was sent to my boss about me and a couple of my friends when I worked for NAMI. Y'all can figure that out yourself later. So I'm going to see if I can just make sure I can read this, because I really kind of tired. So I don't know. Just going to read. I can't look at you while I'm reading. So this is from the U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI Academy, Quantico, Virginia, dated March 17, 2004. I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to interpret it for you. Although I guess I am an interpreter, but not really a good one. Mr. Michael P. Fitzpatrick, Executive Director, NAMI, 2107 Wilson Boulevard, Suite 300, Arlington, Virginia. Dear Mr. Fitzpatrick, I would like to express my most sincere appreciation to NAMI for Representatives Marshall Epstein, Ramiro Guevara, and Tom Lane for their outstanding presentation. They provided to our FBI crisis negotiation coordinators in Fredericksburg, Virginia on February 26, 2004. The In Our Own Voice video presentation, coupled with relating the first-hand experiences of living with mental illness, was highly informative, candid, and entertaining. FBI crisis negotiators received training in both recognizing and how to best communicate with subjects suffering from mental illness. The presentation not only validated that training, but provided our attendees with a rare insight from those who have been there. My emphasis. I personally received numerous laudatory comments regarding Marshall, Ramiro, and Tom's high-impact professional presentation. It has been a pleasure meeting these gentlemen, and I want to thank you for allowing them to share their story with our negotiators. It is my belief that all law enforcement officers would benefit from attending such a presentation. I wish you and them the very best of success in your quest to dispel the existing myths while getting the true message out regarding living with mental illness. Sincerely, Stephen J. Romano, Unit Chief, Crisis Negotiation Unit, Critical Incident Response Group. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way. That's a letter to me. Okay, so I'm not going to, again, take time for some of the stuff. I'll go through that stuff, but I want to tell you the story about Abraham Lincoln and how he's, when he, his whole, how he lost. We've lost two of our greatest presidents because they were assassinated because somebody decided they didn't like what they had to say or didn't like what they were trying to do and what they were trying to stand up for. The only president in our history that had to provide over a civil war that everybody thinks we need again, was Abraham Lincoln. Some of you may know the story that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth at Ford Theater when he was watching a play. So picture this, Civil War, everything that's going on in this country. My family, the Lane family, has literally been in this country probably a lot longer than anybody's going to hear this, and I'm not going to take the time to prove this either, but my family's been here for over 400 years. That's 4 centuries. And when I get you a little bit more, when I've got more time and I'm not so tired, I'll tell you the story of Sir Ralph Lane, who was dispatched by the King of England, I believe, in 1581 or 1583 to, see what's out there. And, and he did, and he came to, guess where? North Carolina, Tar Heel State. Didn't work out at first, but anyway, so that's my family. And, I actually was able to trace this all the way back to 1142 and Richard de Lionheart. That's a true story. That's another time, another story. The issue that I want to kind of address right now is just the whole issue of hatred and greed, and I don't even know what to say. So names to remember: President Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth. I'd like to forget him, but I've forgotten some other folks that I really need to have disassociated with me and my family. Will hold off on that. The other thing is the American Truckers Association. It's important. Ford Theater. There's a name you probably no one knows except maybe folks in the family of Alphonse Don, also Tar Heels, also from a long time here. So set the stage here. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, I have a brother-in-law who protected presidents for a living. He's a black man, Tar Heel, from North Carolina. It's all true story. Before the night that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, tragic, way before, Senator Daniel Webster had said something, or I think it was just he said it. And what he said was, one country, one destiny. I'm going to say it again, one country, one destiny. I got a hat that says this. I got it at Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library in Springfield, Illinois. My family, my wife and I, and my stepson, who I love with all my heart. We went there a lot. We spent a lot of time there before I got this hat, where I decided I wanted to learn about a lot of this stuff. So one country, one destiny, remember that. President Lincoln liked that so much that he had it hand embroidered on the inside of his coat. So, we didn't have machines, and we didn't try to find everywhere we can buy the cheapest thing we can, wherever we could, so we spend our money on ourselves or whatever. I'll get that. That's another thing I'll be having out there about what's happening with Elysium right now. Elysium's happening in slow motion. My sci-fi buddies out there know what I'm talking about. So inside his coat was hand embroidered that, like I just said, it's an eagle with two ribbons, and one says one country, the other says one destiny. So President Lincoln bequeathed that coat to Alphonse Don. I'm not going to tell you who was, because folks need to spend a little time learning. I will tell you that Alphonse Don was President Lincoln's favorite butler. So the night that President Abraham Lincoln went to the Ford Theater to watch a play, it's very, 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 very probably highly likely that Alphonse Don helped President Lincoln put on the coat that he wore that had hand embroidered on the inside of it what Senator Daniel Webster had said, in the claws of an eagle with two ribbons. One country, one destiny. After President Lincoln had been shot, assassinated ultimately, we tried to do everything. People did their best to try to save President Lincoln. Didn't work. But, his coat that he had, they had to, cut his sleeve off. President Lincoln had bequeathed that to Alphonse Don, where it remained in the Don's family for quite a long time. I don't know. I've been doing other stuff, so I haven't researched all that. But his granddaughter and the American Truckers Association, again, said, remember, American Truckers Association, Alphonse Don, President Lincoln, Ford Theater. Also want to kind of mention the Holocaust one, the first one, not to be confused with Holocaust 2.0, the upgraded version. That's another story. I wrote something that I sent around, that I'll tell another time, and hopefully my YouTuber friends can find that and make it available. And I have needed some help. I've had to surface now to just, record this message. So Alphonse's granddaughter agreed to get this in the hands of the American Truckers Association. I'm sure there was some money changed hands, but I just got to tell you for the record, or if my family had been bequeathed that coat, we would have probably done the same thing. So right now, I think that Abraham Lincoln's coat that has hand embroidered on the inside of it, on the ribbons held in the claws of an eagle, one country, one destiny, It was on display at the Ford Theater for a while. I actually went there and saw it when my wife and my stepson and I lived in the Beltway area, the district. We lived in lived in Alexandria. I worked in Arlington. Took the metro most of the time. Loved that place. There's so much. I don't have a passport. I just never felt like I needed to go anywhere. So because there's so much to see here. I think that that code may actually be in the Capitol building, my Capitol building, our Capitol building, Patriot's Capitol building. I think it's somewhere, I don't know where. I've been in the Hart building before. I briefed Congress with some friends of mine around the value of peer support, which I know all the veterans out there know about, law enforcement knows about. We all know about peer support because, we've all needed to get some help from someone who's been there. So peer support is important. And I just got to say that I had a couple of things to say about January 6th. So that's just I'm in anguish. I think many Americans and people around the world are just anguished. And anguish isn't a feeling, it's a state of being. And so I've been there like anguished for 11 days and counting. I've been up until recently. I'm making this video after about 5 hours of sleep, getting up, getting cleaned up a little bit, because when I finally hit the wall last night, which I guess is still today, last night, technically, last morning, early this morning, about 2:30 in the morning, I'd been awake for around 40 hours, nodding off some, but I basically was sleep deprived. My hands were so cramped and my fingers were so cramped just from typing all the time. I really have to, give a shout out to we YouTubers on the help chat. Don't let anybody, technology enabled support doesn't work, because it does. And don't tell me that, if we just pay attention, we can work together. Maybe someone else can tell that story, because I'm really not up to it. I don't know that I don't need other people to know what we did. I know what we did. That's good enough for me. I've never done anything I've done to draw attention to myself. I didn't make my YouTube channel that I didn't know anything about how to do 6 days ago, because I wanted people to, look at me all the time. I want people to look at each other. In the course of trying to do what I've been doing and learning how to connect with people, I really discovered that, YouTubing, we YouTubers, all over the world, really, you can connect with just about anybody if you just look around. So, I had some cool opportunities. I got to tell you, it's really important. So I met this amazing man, Jewish Ukrainian man. He's on YouTube, so I'll just say Eugene. Hey, thanks, Eugene. Wow, Slava Ukrainia. Also met a really nice family, a Jewish family, I think in New York. I want to say 10th Street Synagogue. I can't remember. They were having a service. I thought, wow, that's cool. I didn't know. And I'm not Jewish. I read the Bible. I am kind of like Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade when he says, so I'm not going to do it. I can do a really wicked Yoda. I'll save that for later, when I've had a chance to loosen up. But I remember Billy Bob said, I read the Bible. I reckon I understand a good deal of it. And that's kind of where I'm at about this. I'm not a Bible scholar. But, there's a First Testament or Old Testament and New Testament. Just because it's old doesn't mean we should forget. We should never forget. And we should never forget what happened before. We should never forget what happened to Bob and Yar. And I'll talk about that. Actually, I have a recording. I don't need to talk about that. Everybody needs to learn, though. So I was trying to connect with YouTubers. I love YouTubers. And I managed to do that with a family, like, just a family like my family, my brother's family, and my nephew, and, all the people that I love. Everybody else, we all have families. Look at what is going on for families in Ukraine. I cannot believe that we've watched this for so long. That's not my dad and many of my family. My dad's name is John Edward Lane. He served in World War II in Korea. He joined the Army when he was 16 years old and joined the cavalry. People think we don't still have cavalry. We do. And if you'll, spend some time educating yourself about our nation's military leaders who are top at crackerjack, like Top Gun, Matrix, to the, Jedi military leaders. I'll tell you my favorite one, and Secretary Austin, no disrespect, sir. Again, for folks who don't know, I'm talking about Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, a black man who is right now responsible for everything to do with our military and defending our country. So, keep that in mind. My favorite, my absolute favorite, and I love all the generals and all who've tried to, get people to listen to them while we had economists and pundits on the television all the time about what's going on, was who I thought was the Secretary of the American Battle Monuments Commission. Actually wrote one of the 9 letters I mailed to who I thought was Secretary Hurley. When it was General Mark Hurtling, you see him a lot on CNN. Steely-eyed missile man, Jedi, I'm going to kick your ass kind of general. I like that. That's kind of general I want, not, I don't think that President Biden would have, his top generals shot in the field if they're trying to win a war. And we're in a war. It's not a world war this time around. And I'll clarify that in a second, because I mentioned something earlier about the World Wide Web that was supposed to bring us all closer together and make it easy and all that stuff. Well, it's made us further apart. It's separated us more. I've ranted about this to American Express, which sounds really weird, but that's true. A couple people over there. I also think it's really important to mention that what I've done what patriots would do. Real patriots would do this way, the way I'm done. That I've done it. I've been doing it. I'm still doing it. I used processes. I primarily reached out through my representative, like mine, representing my voice. I'm a constituent of Ron Kind. I've stopped kind of using titles and stuff for anybody except folks I ultimately will, there's, like President and Secretary and Chief Justice and Your Honor. There's only one. I can't use the title of President all the times I would like to anymore. But we've got to figure out how to do something better. We got to figure out to translate our values that we talk about all the time now to help Ukraine. So I have a couple other suggestions before, I kind of tell a story and finish telling that. I think that all the summits the United Nations wants to do, don't hide behind borders or in a building anymore, or behind letters after your name. I don't know what D is or R is or whatever. Just say who you are. I think parties have ruined us. Remove them all. So when you go in, the chambers, it's first come, first serve. If you're really, really interested in what's going on, you get front seats. Get there early. But before we do that again, when there's no one in there, I would like the sergeant of arms for our Congress and anybody else who's there to make sure that what happens in Congress happens the way Congress is supposed to work before anybody comes back in that chamber. And maybe we do it beforehand. I just would like to see people who would say that they think they're a real patriot. And I'm sure that would be everybody's school would be, Thomas, we know that. Well, we do not know that. There are people who are unfit to serve in Congress right now. And I'll name names at another time. You probably know who you are. A lot of us who know that too know who they are. And they're causing a lot of noise right now. I'm tired of listening to you. You are not fit to be where you are or anywhere else from my perspective. I'm pretty hardcore around punishment from having been here a long time, from having my family from North Carolina fight on both sides of the Civil War. So I'm not real tolerant of people who are not fit, who make a lot of noise, who are in my Capitol building, supposedly being part of my process in the government that our founding fathers put down in the Continental Congress on, when we declared our declaration on, the 4th of July, we really, really, really strayed. I mean, I don't even know what a word to say. I think that what should happen is before anybody is allowed to go back in the chambers, either the Senate chambers or the House chambers, is they must again take the oath. Take the oath that you swore. Remember, you swore on, the book that Christians, our faith is founded on the Bible. As I said earlier, people of real faith, just like human beings, all created equal, by our maker, creator. There's different ways that people, that works out, in culture and heritage and everything, so it may have a different name. Alphabet might look different. They might, get together on different days of the week or all, but faith is faith is faith. Take the oath again. Except for some people, I'll name names. You're not fit. You shouldn't even get in again. You should never be able to sit there again, ever, 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 ever. And if in my world, if I was like channeling one of my forefathers before, all this stuff going on with the trials, it'd be real simple. I'm a firm believer in due process. So if there's a decision made by the Department of Justice that I read you a letter that I got to me from, a pretty important guy with a lot of responsibility in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, I think that what they decide to do is okay with me. And if anybody was chose to go to trial, there'd be one sentence that'd be you'd hang. And any plea bargain would also be one thing, and that's like, or you can be exiled. We'll send you away. Right now, I'm thinking a good place to send them would be Ukraine, on the front line. In Kiev is rising, and Kiev is calling. Some of y'all out there, my YouTuber friends, we YouTubers, we know what that's about. So, and right now, Ukraine are the champions of the world. I know that. I've been in contact with the Ukrainian embassy. True story. I know I have history out there, people. I know that. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I've never been ashamed of what I am and who I am and how I am. I was beautifully and wonderfully made by making those, every hair on my head, knitted me my mom, Dana Lee's womb. So I'm good with that. It's just so hard to imagine what has happened. So I had a couple of suggestions around this too. Remember, if the Department of Justice decides to try you and you get before a judge who is part of the judiciary of this country, that's it. That's what you get. So if there's anybody maybe rethinking what we're doing now to just get people's attention, what Thomas thinks, Thomas the Patriot thinks this, that's your choice. If you go on trial and you're found guilty, you're going to hang. Or whatever we want to do now. I actually think hang is appropriate. And if you don't want to do that, then you can leave. Those are your two choices. And anybody else who wants to come to, you came to the wrong place to pick a fight, people. You don't go to the Capitol building with people who are civilians and with guns and attack police. And I've got stuff from there too, like that. Like I said, I'll do this again. I'm going to just surface every now and again because I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this video. I don't want to have to do any of the things. I like my privacy. To, part of me pursuing life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is being private. So I'm gonna want that back. Like now, I don't want to lose that at all. So that's what we do there. I think that we should also take the Old Guard, which is the oldest infantry regiment in the Army. They're called the Old Guard, and a lot of folks might know that. And one of the reasons they're called the Old Guard is because I just told you, they're the oldest artillery division regiment that, is from our country. I'm sure that there were lanes my family served. Right now, their most important job that they have, where they're bivouacked in Fort Myers, is they are the badasses that you see protecting the tomb of the unknown soldier. Let that sink in. The tomb of the unknown. How many unknown soldiers is the nation of Ukraine, a freedom-loving, sovereign, independent nation that first declared their independence on January 22nd, 1918? This is not a war that's only however many days long. It's been going on for 100 years, right? And then there was this thing called World War II. And then the one right now, I think it's called the Russian-Ukrainian war. It's been going on for over 8 years. That's like 8 years, 3 months or something. And you can look it up. It's a running count. So it's not that hard to learn stuff. So we just need to stop this. And I think that we need to change, some stuff about our Constitution. We haven't done that. People don't want to do that, whatever. But here's what I think. We should make it really clear that the commander-in-chief is accountable. No one's above the law. And the law in this case is a uniform code of military justice. Keyword, uniform, military, and justice. So they're all pretty important. And I wore the uniform. I had to deal with a uniform code of military justice. And that, I wish I could have had a different outcome. But, the next time, the people who did what you did on January 6th, and I'm not talking about everybody. I know there's people who are exercising their right, to protest and to be heard. I know there's probably the vast majority of people. But when I look at video and hear stuff that's not fake news of the planning and what was brought, that's like terrorism. I'll just call it what it is. That's what you did. And you better, I don't want to ever see that happen again. Never. So I wanted to see what we need to do to have the old guard everything that's federal, not just Arlington Cemetery, now where my dad is buried, John Edward Lane, who was murdered, just so you know, I'll tell that story later, and dumped in a ditch in Oklahoma. It was in 1985. If you look at his headstone, which I'll put up there, that's when it was. So here's my dad, who did all the stuff he did. I remember when I was, a little kid growing up in rural North Carolina, Tar Heel State, a little agricultural community, that there would be times that my mom, Dana Lee, would be, working on my dad or whatever. He'd have a shirt off or whatever. And, he'd be bleeding. I'm thinking, well, what happened? It was, something happened. Well, what I learned was that my dad, up until the time, I don't know, maybe until he was murdered, he still had shrapnel working its way out of his body. And what my mom was doing was helping deal with that. My dad, I never saw my father shed a tear, ever. I never saw it. But he did that. And so that's why I've had to do what I've done, because that's not my dad and my family, my forefathers, and my brother who served on the Forestall. This is not why we did that, and so, like I say, the next time, anybody wants to think about a civil war time, you need to, pick on somebody your own size, so I propose that, the law enforcement community is not there to defend the Capitol from what happened. I'd like to see the old guard pick that up. You've done a really good job on protecting that. Also wanted to say, clarify something to the American Battle Monuments Commission, where I thought General Mark Hertling was a secretary. I just learned, I talked to a very nice young woman today, a Black woman. I'm not afraid to ask. I'd like to know. I try to be really culturally humble about it, but I'm not a racist at all. I'm not. I love color. I just look at, people are people. And if you get to people listen to you and you understand their history and background and stuff they've gone through, then it makes you a little bit, maybe a little more sensitive. And that's what I've been trying to do for the people of Ukraine, and I'm still doing. That's what I'm going to be doing again when I'm done with this, and whatever happens to it. But we cannot have this happen. So let's get the old guard everywhere. I know the White House been there. I was one of the probably last groups to be able to take a tour there when our president, George Walker Bush, 43, just before 9/11. And I have what was a funny story at the time about my family and my brother-in-law who protected presidents. That was his job. That's not the time. This is not the time to do it. Well, what it is the time is to make it really clear that we should not ever take our freedom for granted. The nation of Ukraine never has. And, think about, President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, his other job before he got this job was he was a comedian. The last guy we had never stopped being a clown. So somebody needs to have my back on all this, because that's my belief, and I'll need to be very, very careful. But maybe if anybody, never watched The Americans, or if you did, I'd go back and binge watch it, because this is not that hard to figure out. We got to stop. We got to go. We got to hit the go button, man. Like, your light is green, go, 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 and next time, if we've got anything going on, like, January 6th again, anywhere, particularly on the Capitol complex or anything, the White House, I think it's pretty well covered. Repel borders is something that anybody who's been in the Navy out there understands, almost any Navy. And that's like the gloves off. But, repel borders means just that, is you're not getting on my boat. That's not going to happen. Or it's just, so, until there's no more of us to repel you, that ain't happening. So that's what we need to do. So I say, as tragic and horrific as it is, I don't buy it. I mean, I don't buy that all this, I buy it. And there's absolutely, we should all be terrified of, like, some kind of, a nuclear confrontation, tactical or whatever. I'm a lot more scared, frankly, about anything chemical or biological, because the wind blows out around. There's no borders. You can't see borders from space. They're not meant to hide behind. Like, everybody seems to be doing, oh, we can't go there because they're having a war. Well, that's exactly when you need to go. I mean, I'd say, again, I'm a simple guy. I'm a cabinet maker. That's what I love to do. I like old cars and old stuff and stuff that's heavy. My family does, because that's what resonates with us. We just got to stop this. Now, I'm going to stop rambling now, because I feel like I'm starting to ramble. I'm sure my we YouTuber friends that you won't believe how we've been communicating. It's actually pretty cool. Awesome, actually. Maybe someone will tell that story. I'll tell a little bit about it later, but let's take the gloves off. Let's just take them off, and anybody who's not willing to take their gloves off, well, let's sit this one out. I read that too. And I hope that, you'll look at that. It's what I think about what Thomas the Patriot, Thomas Lane, thinks about Putin's war, his terror war, Holocaust 2.0, the upgraded version. I'm going to go. I have to stop. My wife's going to be home soon. She had to go and wanted to go visit with her family down in Florida. So she did that. I stayed here. No, go anywhere I like, where I live. I got 4 acres here. I love it. I take care of it. I want to be a good steward. This is what I do. She's going to be home. My house is trashed. My office is a nightmare. Because all I've been doing is this, and like I say, up until I crashed last night about 2:30 Central Time, I've been up for around 40 hours. True story, no fake news, and I'm really whipped. So thank you for listening. Hopefully somehow, I'm not sure how I want to end this, but some people may not like how I end this. But I will ultimately tell you, because I think it's important to know. I have my best friend, Millie. She's gonna need a rest soon. She's tired. I promised the ambassador to Ukraine and President Zelensky, and this, I don't make promises I won't keep, and I don't make threats ever. I make promises. And I promise that when the dust settles from all this, I want to come there, and I want to help rebuild Ukraine, because I want to live in a free country that values freedom. And I'm watching the Ukrainian people. I want to go help them. And I would stay here where all my family is, but it takes so long to get anything done in this country anymore. I can't wait. I'm 62. I'm, kind of compromised from a lot of things health-wise, but for whatever time I got left, and if I could get there now, I would, but I cannot abandon Millie. I won't. But a lot of people had to. They had to flee for their lives, and just imagine what that would be like for us. So I guess I'll be back. I guess I don't know yet, but I just want to end this with this, and I will say, first of all, Slava Ukrainia. I honor all the Ukrainian people and from the lands of Ukraine and your forefathers. I'm learning. I listen to your national anthem so many times. I made a channel. I made a bunch of channels to try to get some stuff out there to, help people who are not in their country anymore to kind of feel connected back to what it means to be Ukrainian. And I want to keep doing that while I'm still here. So I say that, but I'll just, I'm going to close with this. And President Biden and I had a message to you, and that's viewable. All the leaders at the highest level of governments for all free nations around the world have a message for you. That's not hard to find. This is my message, I guess, to everyday Americans who maybe feel like I do, but, they're thinking now nothing we can do about bullshit, and you can do something. You just have to be patient, try to be patient and work at it, never get up just until you need to say what you need somebody to hear you. And I think I did okay. God bless America. Can we stop this now?